Tim here with the Juice, talking today about plyometric programming for kids. Okay, this is a question we get a bunch of, partly because this stuff shows well on social media, so everyone has videos of their developing kids doing some stuff that maybe looks really cool, maybe long-term is or is not the best for them. And then we hear the comments of people bragging about their workouts and the kind of the more is better approach of, I did an hour of plyometrics, right? And that's something we still have a good laugh about, because there's actually a lot of good research on how much jumping and bounding people should do in a week and kids should do in a week. Not just their body can take it, but to get the right desired stimulus from that. So what we've done is, me, Dr. Hahn, and Coach Kraft have created a level system within our program that fits with the different assessment and exercise selection pieces to make sure that everyone can, for them, get the right movement selection and jump training they need to get more explosive. And at the same time, we can help coaches understand that a little better. So here's how it works. I'll give you a real quick and down and dirty play. We'll talk more about it on the back end of this. First, it's created by levels, right? So we have 4 levels of different jump training, different agility training, different plyometric training, ladder training too. We've broken it down there, so we know that the movement selection is proper for where you're at, right? You're doing certain movements, maybe learning to jump, maybe learning to get in right position to jump first. Okay, that's important. In each session, each movement has a certain amount of reps that can go with that, right? So if you're doing a pretty simple, let's say you're doing a regular box jump, to a moderate height, you can maybe do a moderate amount of jumps to that. If you're doing something like bounding repeated efforts, you're probably not going to do 50 attempts of those in one day, right? Because to keep the output high, to keep the movement quality good, to get the desired stimulus out of that, we have to adjust the reps for those movements, making that specific to each movement, and same with the sets, right? More reps, generally less sets of something. Less sets, you're doing 2 sets of something, you might do more reps, depending on the volume and phase of training you're in. All right, second, this is where it starts to get cool. The day of training of the week actually helps dictate which movements and exercise selections we can do, along with the percentage of load, meaning how much effort we need people to be putting into these, and how much of their perceived max or actual measured maximum we're looking for them to do, and then the plane we're training in. And to give you an example of this, one day of the week, you're fresh on Monday, let's say, for a general example, you may be able to do a good amount of jumps, right? So that may take a lot out of you, right? Okay, so then if Wednesday is coming up next, let's say that's your next training day, you may be a little more fatigued. Your central nervous system may be a little fried. So we may do some jump training with a little less percentage of overall effort on those, right? So you can work more skill. This may be more lateral jumping, which usually isn't as powerful as linear jumping for most people. Okay, so that's plane. Then maybe Friday, we may be working transverse plane. We may be working rotational power. We may be working change of directions. Okay, putting all that together, almost like in a, getting ready for the weekend competition where you're going to be going pretty hard. Okay, so day of the week actually helps dictate our exercise selection based on the level. Finally, this is something we're going to hit on a lot at our upcoming Coaches Cert in Miami, the individual. So even though you have a level-based system, even though we have the day of the week, this should work for these movements, the individual, can they get the proper response? And again, you can take 2 athletes. One may be a little more consistent, aerobic, enduring athlete. One athlete may be a little more fast twitch, a little more explosive already. Giving them the exact same reps may not work the same for both of them. And I'm actually going to tell you it's not going to work the same for both of them in the range, right? So we're going to help you guys understand the level system for plyometrics. Everyone who registers for our coaching cert is going to get this guide that we've created. Also help you choose the right day for each movement, so you're making sure you're getting the most out of the training that coincides with the training arc of the week, coincides with the movements they're already doing to get stronger. And then finally, how to look at each kid and each individual and find the way to adjust them the best on the fly. Because that's where real coaching happens, right? Anyone can go on someone's blog, look at some things, go on a site and go, I read this thing, but how do you actually coach that in real time? And that's where coaching happens, and that's what we're real excited to share with you. December 2nd to 4th in Miami. The link is above or below, depending on where you're watching this, and hope